April 8th, and my name is Bill McCamley. I am a state representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla here in New Mexico, and this is your legislative update for the day. So today I am on the campus of beautiful New Mexico State University, which is not only my alma mater. I represent most of the campus geographically in the district, and the reason I'm here today is to talk about the governor's vetoes. So remember, the governor has 20 days after a legislative session to sign all of the bills passed in the last 3 days of a session, when most of the bills were passed, right? And so the last bill that she vetoed yesterday was the budget. Now, she didn't veto all of it, but there were two major parts that she basically slashed all of. The first is the legislature's budget. So we are now, unless we fix it, not funded starting on July 1st. So all of the programs that we do, the interim committees that we run, all the planning that we do is gone. And she vetoed all of higher education. So New Mexico State, where I'm sitting right now, gets 30 to 35% of their budget from the state of New Mexico. And other universities around the state and other community colleges around the state are all in a similar boat. So if nothing is done about this, then these places basically cease to function. And that's a terrible thing for a whole lot of reasons I'll talk about in a second. Now, why are we here? Remember, the legislature and the governor cut taxes on the wealthy in 2003 and 2004 pretty hard, and then cut taxes on out-of-state corporations in 2013, all in an attempt to generate economic developments, that trickle-down economics theory that you heard about before. Well, it didn't really work. No new businesses have really come here other than film, which is a whole separate thing. The problem is we could do it at the time because we had high oil and gas revenues. Well, those have fell, and it's put us for the last 2 or 3 years in a really tough economic spot. There's not the money coming in that is coming in the past because oil and gas prices are so low. So we've had to cut and cut and cut. Now this year, a lot of the Democrats in the legislature, myself included, have said, wait a minute, we can't continue to cut our schools, our cops, social workers, economic development programs, all the things that make a society at its basic level work. And so we said, rather than continue to cut these things, we're going to give the governor 7 different types of revenue increases. So a 1% increase in the car sales excise tax, a small increase in the gas tax, internet sales tax, which Amazon is just yesterday or today doing anyway. And there's 3 or 4 other things. The governor decided to veto, in addition to all of our higher education and all of the legislature's budget, all of that. So the problem, if you cut all of higher education without a revenue stream, is that basically kills the universities. So what do universities do? They not only provide 4-year degrees, but the community colleges provide a lot of workforce training. So 2-year degrees, welding certificates, nurses, all those sorts of things. And if we don't have these universities, we lose a lot of the research and development that they're doing. We lose a lot of the economic opportunity that universities bring to individual communities in the state. And we lose all of the 2-year schools' ability to educate our workforces. And that kills our ability to create jobs. So what was the goal of the governor here? This is a negotiation tactic, and she will probably call us back in to try to help fix this. So there's 3 possible scenarios for what comes out here. Number 1, the legislature and the governor find some kind of compromise between cuts and revenue increases where that can be passed by the legislature and signed by the governor. The second thing, if the governor continues to say no increases whatsoever, is that enough Republicans, and this is already happening in the Senate, but in the House, decide to say, okay, we need to override a gubernatorial veto. Now, 9 Republicans in the House would have to join every Democrat in the House to be able to do that. And that's been very difficult for them so far. So that's probably a less likely scenario. The third problem, or the third possibility, which is a major problem, is that nothing gets done and universities and the legislature do not continue to be funded. And that creates all sorts of massive problems going ahead. So that's kind of where we're at right now moving forward. I'll go over some more vetoes and everything tomorrow, but this is a big deal. Cutting all of higher education has serious consequences, and though it may get figured out, and hopefully it will, it creates a lot of problems for universities. So the president and the regents of the university here were going to raise tuition a little bit to make up for some of the cuts, but they decided we're going to wait because we're going to wait for the governor to figure out what she's doing. The uncertainty for where they will end up does not allow them to create budgets for the next year. So how many professors do we have to hire here? How many staffers do we need here? Do we need more people to be in these dorms here? All that's not possible for them right now because they don't know what kind of money's coming from the state. And I honestly disagree with the governor and her tactics here, but that's kind of where we're at. So as always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns on these or any other issues, I would love to answer them for you. I'll be back in a couple of days talking about some of the other bills that she vetoed and the impact on your life. Thanks so much, and hope everyone's having a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Bye.